the snake show. A lunch and learn adventure, but it's early here in Colorado, so more of a breakfast. I've had my first breakfast, and after the show, I'm gonna have my second breakfast. So I am a little bit of a hobbit that way. I like to eat a lot. But let's start the show off, and I got to remember to do this. And this is something that you're going to help me with when I have guests on here. Is that we are going to got to remember to take your snake selfie. What's a snake selfie? Well, you get a snake, and you lean back, you take a smile, and you take a snake selfie. I'll be posting that on all the social media later on today. But you should take your snake selfie today, right now, because I know that you have a snake around your neck for the snake show, or you're holding one. It doesn't matter. But today, as it says down here in the lower third, I'm Cameron Young. I'm the chief snake lover at the Center for Snake Conservation. That make me special? Makes me a little strange, but I really do have a passion for snakes, and hopefully I can share some of that passion with you and change any fears that you have for snakes into fascination. And that's what we're all doing. That's what the Center for Snake Conservation's mission is changing human perceptions about snakes so that we can implement conservation measures that are effective and work all over the world, and for any species of snake that we can think of. So today, though, got an interesting topic, and it's kind of hard to do because I don't keep venomous snakes. But the question is, how do you tell a venomous snake from a non-venomous snake? Actually, let's take a little step back here. The question I get a lot is, how do you tell if a snake is poisonous? Well, my answer to that is no snakes are poisonous. Well, that's not entirely true either. What? Well, what's poison? Well, first off, let's define poison and define venom. Poison is a toxic substance, chemical, something that you ingest. You're ingesting it, and it makes you sick. A venom, like a spider, a snake, anything that has fangs, or as it bites you, that venom is injected into your skin and it attacks different things. It doesn't make you sick. It can make you sick, but it's not making you sick from your intestines, from your digestive system out. It can make you sick. So it attacks your cells. It attacks the chemistry of your body differently, and it's injected into you. So there's poison and venom. So when people ask me if snakes are poisonous, I go, no, you can eat every single one of them. Get it? You can eat them because you're not going to get sick. And actually, that's pretty much true, except for there is a snake in the world that it eats poisonous prey, and it sequesters those toxins, those poisons, and then it can excrete them itself. And so therefore, that snake is poisonous. That's pretty cool. We'll talk about that snake another day. I think that we could do a whole episode on that snake, and we'll actually get some people in who found that snake in the wild and who can really talk about firsthand experience with it. I don't have any with that species. So we'll get back to the question here. How do you know a venomous snake from a non-venomous snake? You asked me that question, and I kind of hem and haw, and try and figure out a way to answer it, because I just know what all the snakes are in an area. If you were to take me to Southeast Asia or Indonesia, maybe even Australia, I may not be able to tell you which snakes are venomous and non-venomous. Here in the U.S., can do it just without even thinking. Just rattle them off, and I know exactly what they all look like. South America, I might be able to do it pretty well too. Know what they all look like. It's just where we have experience in the world. A lot of people have knowing, or where we've studied, and that's where this conservation through education piece comes in. Is that once you're educated about things, they become less scary, and the fear changes into fascination. So it's a great question, and I can't answer. I can't tell somebody, well, I just know. That doesn't help anybody to say, I just know. So what are some characteristics of venomous snakes that a person can use if they see a snake in their yard to be able to know? And we'll kind of talk about some of them. And if you're in Colorado, rattles. All our venomous snakes in Colorado are rattlesnakes. There's nothing else. There's no other venomous snakes in Colorado. We don't have coral snakes. We don't have cottonmouths. We don't have copperheads. We don't have cobras. All we have are rattlesnakes. So if it has a rattle, it's venomous. If it doesn't have a, does that make the snake any more dangerous? No. If I'm going to be grabbing it, grabbing it. But you notice I even went slowly with this snake because I didn't really know its head is behind me. I didn't know where it was. You don't want to grab anything by the face. But it's the same with a non-venomous and a venomous snake. Is if you see a snake in your yard, even if it's a rattlesnake, it doesn't mean it's dangerous because you're a good distance back from it. And what I say is, and it's the rule in my house, if you see a snake, you don't know what it is, you're taking 3 steps back, and so that you can observe that snake at a safe distance. Now, if you're standing on top of it, yeah, you're probably not at a safe distance if it were a rattlesnake, but I think that you do take your 3 steps back, you observe it, you check it out, and you know that, well, this is a rattlesnake. Now, you don't want your dog running in there, sticking its nose in there, or your cat trying to catch it. So that's where the danger occurs with these snakes. But you're not in any danger, regardless of what the species is, if you give it a safe distance. They can't chase you down. And that's something that's a myth out there, that snakes are that fast, they'll chase you down and bite you just to do it. No way. They don't. So if you're in Colorado, but that doesn't help people who are in Florida. It doesn't help people who are in Kentucky. It doesn't help people who are in Arizona, California. In parts of the country that's great, but other places, no, it doesn't work because you'll have all these other venomous snakes that don't have rattles. So people say, well, it has a triangular shaped head, got to be venomous. I don't like that one at all, because there's so many species of snake that have the ability to completely flatten their head out and make it into a diamond shaped head. Now, what is that doing? And people say, well, that makes them look like a rattlesnake, so we know that they're dangerous. No. What it does is it makes them seem bigger and therefore more intimidating to whatever is trying to eat it. To a human, do we really associate the snake isn't thinking in itself, I'm going to make myself look like a rattlesnake, is what I'm trying to say there. And so what it's doing, is I want myself to be big and scary. And so there's a lot of species of snake that will flatten their heads out to look big and scary. And it just happens so that our pit vipers, our rattlesnakes, our cottonmouths, our copperheads do have somewhat triangular shaped heads. They have a narrow neck and they have space in their jaws for those venom glands. And that's what gives them a triangular shaped head. They have these big spaces. But let's look at this ball python here that's hanging out with me today. And if you look right there, look at that head. It's got the same structures. Look, it's almost a diamond shaped head. Almost. I mean, it's not quite as wide, but this snake can flatten itself out and give it that appearance as well. So what do you say? I mean, it's not a venomous snake. I wouldn't put a venomous snake around my neck. Are you crazy? But the snake can have a diamond-shaped head. So is that a good one? Well, probably not. And also because you have to be pretty close to a snake to be able to see I got a nice scarf on today. Oh, man, keeping me warm. Or am I keeping him warm? Because you got to be pretty close to a snake to see its head shape. Now, a big blocky head is an indication that snake's got a lot of specialized mechanics in there for obtaining prey. And so that's a good, I mean, if you were to see that and you could say, well, I'm just going to stay away from all snakes with big blocky heads, because that could be an indication of that being venomous, and that's true, but it's not an end all. We have snakes all over the world that have very slender heads, very slender necks, and they're venomous. They're highly venomous. So that's not a good one all. But if you're in North America, loosen up. There we go. So if we're in North America, you probably use that. But if you're in other parts of the world, no. Especially if you're in Australia, where the majority of the snakes are lapids, meaning they're related to the cobras, or cobras are related to them, any way you want to look at it. But they don't have that big triangular head. So that's not a good indicator of venom. And we also in North America, for you folks in the southeastern parts of the southern part of the country, we have the eastern coral snake, we have a Texas coral snake, we have an Arizona coral snake, a Sonoran coral snake that occurs in the United States. And then if you go farther south into Texas or into Mexico and into Central America and then South America, we have the coral snakes, which are in a lapid, which are related to the cobras and the kraits that are in Australia and the rest of the world. But they don't have that head. So here's something else that people say. Well, red on yellow, kill a fellow. Red on black, friend of Jack. Great rhyme, as long as you're north of Mexico. Great rhyme. If you're south, it doesn't work. There's coral snakes that are red and black. There's coral snakes that are black and yellow. There's coral snakes, and then there's non-venomous snakes that look almost identical to them. So that coloration, that aposematic coloration, that bright coloration that like butterflies and things use, could be a warning color to a color-seeing primate, but it's not. You can't use that rhyme to tell you if a snake is venomous or not. Now, we just did one of our Facebook posts. We put together a slide that had a coral snake, a scarlet snake, and a scarlet king snake, the three red, black, and yellow snakes from Florida or from the south central or southeastern United States. And those snakes were, when you see them together, God, no mistake, you can tell them exactly apart. I mean, that snake's different from that snake. But the trouble is do we ever see them all three together? Never. I mean, if you get extremely lucky, you might flip and you have to be looking for snakes, flipping something over and find two of those three. But I doubt there's anybody who's found all three underneath the same cover item. Now, we call it in the field herpetology world, it's kind of the trifecta of tricolored snakes. Trifecta, three prize of the tricolor to the three colored snakes is that if you can find them all three in one day, it's one of the most amazing days ever. So in the field, but color, I wouldn't use color. So how do you, back to this original question, is how do you know if a snake is venomous or non-venomous? And this is just like anything else that humans should do with their surroundings, is be aware. And this is what I like to tell people, is be aware of where you live and what could potentially be there. So, and that what that also helps do is it educates us about our surroundings. And so that fear, it takes away a lot of that fear. So I lived in Georgia for most of my life, and I knew that there were copperheads everywhere. The whole state's covered in copperheads. So what I did early on as a child is I learned what a copperhead looks like. Now, not all copperheads have that copper head like it sounds, but they are very distinctive in their colors and their patterns. And, even if there's a mimic snake that looks exactly like it, I would know as a child to avoid both of them. And so that's what you just do, is you familiarize yourself with the snakes in your area. So if you're in Colorado, I always ask people, well, where do you live? They ask me, how do I know what snakes are venomous? Well, where do you live? And then once they tell me, I tell them, well, you're lucky you live in a place where you only have rattlesnakes, like you're in Colorado, or you're in New York, so you have copperheads and two species of rattlesnakes in New York State. So you need to be aware of what those three species look like. And then if you see other snakes, just kind of take a mental note of it and go, wow, that was a kind of a neat snake, and kind of try and guess what it was, and go back and look it up. I mean, how many people in this world, when they see birds, go look them up? There's millions of bird watchers in the United States. There's probably 1 billion bird watchers in the world. Over 7 billion people on the planet. Is it a stretch to say that 1 billion of them notice birds and 1 billion of them notice birds and can identify them? They can't identify them all, but they can know. But why are there only 2,000 to 3,000 people that can identify snakes? Well, one, we don't find snakes very often. And when we do, they startle us. And there's so many myths about snakes that we don't want to find them. We don't want to see them. But I'm here to tell you that if you stop and you start paying attention, you'll see snakes everywhere. and you'll start feeling safer around them because one, you're going to see them, and two, you're going to be fascinated by them and you're going to learn about them. And to me, that's how I tell people that snakes are venomous, or which snakes are venomous is, well, where do you live? Let's learn. Let's not go outside in our yard in fear that we're going to run into a copperhead. Let's go outside and learn. Well, one, there probably won't be a copperhead here because I live in a subdivision and there's lots of busy streets. And snakes, as we know, don't do very well crossing roads. So especially a big, slow-moving snake, or a chunky, slow-moving snake like a copperhead would be, where it's just going to kind of cruise and cruise and cruise and cruise, and it really is not going to do a very good job of getting across that street quickly enough to survive, especially when there's lots of people around. But and so the best knowledge is your answer. It really is. Instead of saying, well, I kill all snakes I see because the one might be venomous. Well, why kill any snakes? Learn about them, take a few steps back, and enjoy them. So that's really where I like to answer the question, what snakes are venomous? Oh, I completely forgot this. People will say, well, venomous snakes have elliptical or cat-like eyes. Their eyes look like a cat. So like look at my eye right now. It's round pupil. Well, all non-venomous snakes have a round pupil, and all the venomous snakes have a pupil that goes up and down. Well, that's just not right. That's just not true. Plus, if you're that close, I mean, I'm this close to this snake and I can barely tell that it has a round pupil. Am I going to get this close to a rattlesnake to see if it has an elliptical pupil? No. I don't ever recommend anybody else to. But if you find a dead snake now, and you wanted to know what it was, and you could look at it that way. But I want to warn you, dead snakes can still bite. Venom does not rot like the rest of the snake is. It doesn't break down. That venom is a very complex protein, and it's a very stable protein, so that it maintains its structure. So that even if you were to prick yourself with a fang of a rattlesnake after it's been dead for 2 or 3 weeks, you could still be envenomated by that snake. So that's just something that to be a safety concern to know of. And a lot of people are bitten. They've killed the snake, and then the snake bites them. And just something that you just be aware of, that the venom is we should probably get a venom expert like Dr. Steve Mackesy up at University of Northern Colorado to come talk about venom. It was kind of fun. I was just in the airport here in Denver, and there he was up on a billboard with a rattlesnake. And I was like, hey, I know that guy. But he knows more about venom than he's forgotten more about venom than I'll ever know. And we should maybe talk to him about the complex properties of those proteins and how long they do last in the ecosystem after the snake has died. And it's going to be longer than you'd expect. Unless, of course, diluted with water and other things. But if you just left it in its form, it's going to stay there. But, we got off on a side tangent. We're talking about the elliptical eyes of a snake. And then people also say, we'll say, oh, there's lots of non-venomous snakes that have cat eyes. And then the venomous snakes, all the cobras, all the crates, that coral snake I was telling you about, they have round pupils. So their pupil just looks just like ours. So boy, that is not going to work. And then other people say, well, we have pit vipers. And so our venomous snakes in North America have pits on their face. Well, this snake right here has pits on its face. No, it's not going to cooperate. He wants to put its head down. But it has pits on the top and bottom. And it's the same very similar sort of pit. It's a heat sensing pit for getting prey. And rattlesnakes have a nostril and then a pit on their face. And so do our other pit vipers, our copperheads, our cottonmouths. They have that. So where are they? Is that a good characteristic? Yes, it might be if you're in North America, but the rest of the world, no. And also, again, you got to be this close to be able to figure that out. So, I mean, holy smokes, I'm not going to get that close to a venomous snake. And I'm a snake lover. Look, I'm the chief snake lover right there at the Center for Snake Conservation. And I'm still not going to be putting my nose on a venomous snake just to see, oh, do you have the elliptical eyes? Do you have pits? And plus, those aren't good characteristics that are foolproof for telling a venomous snake. Um, so I always encourage people, educate yourself, know what's in your backyard. With Google now, it's so easy. I go, just say venomous snakes say you're in Georgia, venomous snakes in Gwinnett County, Georgia. You type that into Google, and that's a suburb, that's a county outside of Atlanta, the main part of Atlanta, and it's going to tell you, well, you have copperheads. You might have a timber rattlesnake, but probably not anymore. And you could potentially have a pygmy rattlesnake if you're far eastern part of the county. Probably not anymore. Copperheads. Boom. Now I know. Now I'm experienced, and I've seen pictures of them, and I know what a copperhead looks like. So I know that if I find one in my yard, or when I'm out on a nature hike, to observe that snake and give it its space, and know how important it is to our ecosystems. And venomous snakes, especially our cottonmouths and our copperheads and our rattlesnakes in North America. Let's just talk North America here. And actually, we could throw in the other world, the other parts of the world. Our cobras, our mambas, our the all the tree vipers around the world. Those snakes are critical to venomous snakes are critical to having a healthy ecosystem. They are one of the top predators in that ecosystem, and they're doing a great job of maintaining balance in the rodents, or maybe it's the lizards, or maybe they eat other snakes, and they're doing a great job of maintaining the balance of those species in the ecosystem. I just had a tangent that I was going to go racing down, but maybe now we're not going to do that because I forgot it. But it was more about that whole thing on what those snakes can do. Oh, I know what it was. All right. So there's 27 species of snake in Colorado. This is just a great example. Three of them are venomous. So the majority of snake species out there are non-venomous. Georgia, 40 some odd species of snake, 8 venomous. Now, I'm just doing numbers off the top of my head. It's been a while, so I probably have some fact checkers out there who are going to go out there and say, well, there's 9. Please do, because that to me is success, because all of a sudden you're educating yourself on the snakes. And let me know. Say, hey, you know what, Cameron, you misspoke on the snake show. You said there were 40, and I'm saying I'm just throwing numbers out there, but it's always about 20. It's less than 25% of the snakes in North America are venomous. Now, if you do all the snakes, the numbers are a lot lower. But in Australia, it's completely flopped. There's most of the snakes are venomous. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to ever harm or be dangerous to humans. They're going to be like this ball python, and you can just hold them and they don't ever bite. But they do have a venom. They are related to those cobras, and so they do have a venom. And I have one more cool fact for you today before we log off here on the Snake Show and the special edition Snake Show. I should have mentioned that. We're gonna be back at 11. We're gonna be at our Lunch and Learn Adventures at 11 on Tuesdays, 11 Mountain Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Mountain Time Tuesdays every week. But this week was special. I was traveling for work, so today we're doing a special episode of it. But I wanted to say is that the rattle thing. All rattlesnakes have rattles. And did you know there's one species of rattlesnake out there that doesn't have a rattle? Doesn't have a rattle at all. It's just not there. It lives out on an island, and the thought is that there were no giant mammals on that island, and a rattle is a warning. Please don't step on me. Please don't step on me. Of these giant mammals, our elk used to be much bigger. We had mastodons, and we had ground sloths and giant bison. They used to roam the plains of the western U.S., and that's where rattlesnakes evolved. Was in the plain here in the western U.S. and western North America, southwestern North America, and that rattle was, please don't step on me, and it works. It works, but this one species of rattlesnake was isolated out on an island, and it didn't need the rattles anymore, so it doesn't have a rattle. So that's just a little cool sidebar about venomous snakes. And as you noticed in today's Snake Show episode, we've gone all over the place. And that's what's so cool and fascinating about snakes. And that's what I want you to keep tuning into the Snake Show. Keep keep checking out the Snakespiration episodes on my YouTube channel and on the Center for Snake Conservation YouTube channel. I try and post them both places. And keep following us on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, please go find us. Find the Center for Snake Conservation, and check out our website. And book me for an educational program. I will come. I will come to you wherever you are in the world. Now, you may have to pay me if it's a lot farther away, but I will come and we will talk snakes. And I can find, if I can't bring my snakes with me, I will find somebody who can loan me a few snakes, and we can have a great discussion and a lot of fun with snakes. And that's where I think we all need to just focus on our conservation efforts right now, is telling people that snakes are not these scary animals that they think that they are. They are fascinating. They have amazing adaptations, such as a rattlesnake without a rattle. Think about that. Just just incredible things. And I want you to think about that. And I want you to find a way that you can do your part for snake conservation by just either sharing this video, sharing some of our Facebook posts, do something, or just talk to people. If you have a pet snake, what a great thing. Take it to your kid's classroom. Or if you don't have a kid, take it to your cousin's classroom or your nephew's classroom or your niece's Girl Scout troop. They love seeing snakes. Even if you just have one, you don't need a lot. You just need to have one. And that's how we're going to make a difference. That's how we're going to change fear into fascination. And it's all about conservation through education. So I'm Cameron Young with the Center for Snake Conservation. I'm going to sign out now. Everybody, did you take your snake selfie? You better have. I took mine, and I'm going to post it here in a little bit. We'll get my snake selfie up there for everybody to see. And remember, snakes are cool. They're amazing. They're some of the planet's most misunderstood animals, but once we start seeing them, it is truly fascination. All right, that's it. I'm going to sign out, and I'll see you guys Tuesday. Oh, I should mention I have a lot of special guests lined up coming up, and I'm working right now. They all have really high profile jobs with some of our leading education groups out there. And so before I can have them on the show, we've got to get everything signed up and permissions and kind of blessings for them to be here. But it is going to work, and you're going to be very excited about who's coming. I know I am. I'll just tease you. An educator from a zoo in California and a researcher in South Africa doing some amazing things with venomous snakes. Speaking of venomous snakes, this is a guy I've known for I've known him for 10 or 15 years. And he is one of the most passionate venomous snake people I have ever met. I think he is the #1 venomous. And if you people who know me know him, and you're already guessing who it is, you already know who it is. And we're going to get him on this show to talk about venomous snakes. And so those are just two of our planned guests, and we're also going to have some local people who are not snake expert yet, who are reaching up to the stars and are going to be snake experts soon. And those are the people that excite me as well, because they are our future, and they're the future for snakes. So let's get in here, and we'll just sign out with I can't. Oh, there we go. We'll just sign out with today's snake show, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, later.